Hey, what's up, YouTube and Periscope people? All right, so this video is dedicated to those who are going through the ADD struggle or think they might have ADD. This is a short version of my story. Another day when I don't have like a billion things to do. Probably try and do another one. But all right, so I didn't get diagnosed with ADD until I was 38, officially last Thursday. Um, so basically, growing up, um, I was a hyper kid, and you know, I was told by my teachers. I had one teacher who told me that no matter what I did, as long as I was nice and I kept my personality, I would get somewhere. And I wasn't the greatest at school, but I passed. Sometimes barely, but I passed. I got in trouble in high school for goofing off in class a lot, um, which was awkward because one of my teachers went to my father's church. So, of course, I acted up there, and he would hear about it on Sunday, and then I'd get it on Sunday afternoon. It was sucked, but I was very impulsive, which got me into trouble. When I was in my 20s, I did a lot of things I should not have. Put my family through a lot. Um, I didn't really start getting an inkling that there could be a problem until I graduate. Well, no, I was in college, and I noticed that I could not concentrate. Um, I would read reading assignments over and over and over again, and I would never retain anything. It was frustrating. Like I would try and go paragraph by paragraph and read the paragraph and be like, what did I get? And the answer was pretty much always nothing. It's horrible. I had to put a lot of work into it. It was frustrating because my boyfriend, he would read the chapter in like 20 minutes and know everything. And I would have to read all day. Going back to school was like a full-time job. I would get off of waiting tables around 11 or 12 o'clock. I'd get home around 12:30, and I'd pop open a bottle of wine and I would start studying. I would study till about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. It was horrible. I loved school, but it was horrible when certain things had to come up. Like when one thing that was really good was they integrated documentaries. And documentary, I love documentaries. I do that on Saturdays. I watch documentaries. I'll be like, what do I want to learn about today? And just watch documentaries. So that was an amazing part because I could see things, hear things, and it was interesting. So I could focus in, which I found out hyper focus on things that you like, such as video games, movies, or whatever. You could sit there all day and do it, and not even a problem. Um, so that worked in my favor. All the documentaries and stuff. I know a lot of other people didn't like it. I lived for it and I excelled. I did really well with online school because I was able to do it in my own time the way I like to. I could do it in little bursts and listen to music. I didn't realize that I was just trying to learn in my own way. I just did it the way that I could, and that worked out well for me. Um, so I went to school, but I did go to see the school counselor who sent me for testing to make sure I didn't have any tumors or anything like that. The school doctor did. And then I went to the school psychiatrist, and she was going to start me out on um, Adderall, but she wanted to get me on mood stabilizers first. So we had started off with Wellbutrin, and she was like, she wanted to see if that helped or anything like that. And then she quit. So I was like, okay. And I didn't have insurance and I couldn't afford it, even though Obama tried with the Affordable Care Act. It still was very much not affordable for me. It was a good attempt. I mean, the times before that I looked, it was so much more expensive. The price did come down, but I couldn't afford it. I was living tip to tip. So I couldn't afford to really go and do anything, so I just kind of stuck with what I had. Um, then I ended up moving to Florida about 3 years ago, and I started getting into my field. And my first job was working for the state at DCF, and I started noticing that I was taking a lot longer than everybody else. I was sitting next to these two girls who were absolutely positively amazing, and they would just fly through their work. And I was like, what the heck? Like they'd be sitting there chilling. Like they did their stuff and they were like, I'm done. And I'm still sitting here working on my first case and they're done with all of theirs. And it was like I'd gotten used to people thinking I was ditzy, but I really started feeling it at that point in time. And it got down to the point to where ended up having to leave that job or I was going to get fired. And I wanted to make something of myself. I didn't want to ruin my career before it started. So I went ahead and resigned and I applied for another position. I got hired for another position and I ended up getting called in for a meeting after working there for probably about 9, 10 months, because I had been hanging up on people. Now, I did not realize that this is what I had been doing. My boss pulled me in and she, told me that. And I was like, is this real? Like, because they thought that because I'm very competitive and I thought it'd be fun to kind of challenge everybody on who could get the most interviews and have the best times and stuff like that. Because I mean, I have fun doing stuff like that. So, I try and make everything fun. And so they thought that I was trying to pad my times by just hanging up on people. So I would have a lower time score. And I was so offended. And I remember I was devastated. Um, the first time I was I was upset, but the second time I was completely and utterly devastated. I cried. Not there, of course. I held it. But I was also paralyzed because when they told me, I was just so dumbstruck, and I was like, I took it really personally, and I was like, why would you think I would do this? I'm not that kind of person. I'm here to help people. I love people, and it hurt my feelings so bad, and I was just furious, and I was just well, at that point, I wasn't furious. I was just hurt and I was dumbfounded because I didn't see it coming. Um, there were a couple times where I did hang up on people, but I did not mean to do it. And so, I called my boss and I was like, "Hey, I hung up on someone. It was an accident." And he was like, "It happens. Just be more careful." In those times I turned myself in, but to have it happen like 80 times, which was, I believe, the number that I was given, I was like, lies you tell, lies you tell. So then they started playing me videos, and I was just like, I, I mean, clearly that's me, but I don't understand. I was, I don't know, I felt crazy because I was like, I hear my voice, I see it, I don't understand. Um, So I remember I went back and I sat down at my desk and I was just like, I didn't know what to do. And I was so upset I couldn't even speak. I remember my boss came over to tell me, what my instructions were. And I remember them telling me that it didn't look good for me because it was an integrity issue. And, now with my diagnosis and my behavioral therapy, it makes a lot of sense. Whereas in before, I had no reason for these absences of time. I had different things like I would have things in my hand, and next thing you know, I'm looking for it, and I'm like, "Where is it?" And I wouldn't be able to find it. Or my boyfriend would be like, "Hey, can you grab this?" And I'm like, "Where is it?" And I'm looking, and he'd just walk over and he's like, "It's right here." And I was like, "Oh my God." I frustrated a lot of people. A lot of people couldn't stand me because I was so ditzy. And So that was the second uh, job, and then the third one, which is the latest one, I got fired from the health department, and that was about 2 weeks ago, and that's because I was making serious mistakes, and I went to seek help because my boyfriend was like, you have a problem and you really need to look into it. So I started seeking help almost immediately about a year ago. I went to one of the local places, and I started going through behavioral cognitive therapy, which was really helpful. I really enjoyed it. My counselor is amazing, and he was um one of the people who was like, okay, look back at this and this and this. And I started realizing different trends and stuff. I also remember there was one point in time that I was working at a diner down in Bonita Springs, and I was the expo. For those of y'all who don't do restaurants, that's the person who goes ahead and garnishes your food and sets everything up to go out to the different tables. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. And one day I came in absolutely hungover, probably still drunk. It was horrible. And one of my friends was like, hey, take this pill, you'll be fine. I was like, okay, whatever. And I just took it, didn't think about it because that's, how I was at that point in time. And I'll never forget, I was amazing that day. It was so good. Everyone made so much money. They pulled everyone to the back at the end of the shift and they all clapped for me. And I was just like, what? No, like everyone was just like, wow, that was amazing. He finally gets it, yada, yada, yada. And I was just like, wow. So later on, I was like, what did you give me? And he's like, Adderall. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what that is, but wonderful. And then I came back the next day and I did horrible as normal. And a couple days later, I believe it was, they fired me because I was horrible. So I never really thought about it until I started going through the behavioral, and he was having me write things down, and I was like, oh, there's so many things I could look back at, and I was like, that makes sense. Like the absence of time, disorganization, spontaneous decisions that are horrible, like uh, moving to Florida from New York with someone from the internet that I met literally that day. I met him. I went in. I put in my 2 week notice. I left on Easter in like 2002, 2003. I just moved, just clear across the country. Now that might also fall into the other diagnosis, which we will get to in another video. But I made a lot of very impetuous, crazy decisions, either whether it be spending money, doing drugs, sex. There's you name it. I screwed the pooch on just about everything. So it started really getting to me because I started feeling like I was slow. Um, and I really started, like, when I started going through the testing, which I did. I started probably about a couple months ago. It took forever because of insurance to find someone who's willing to, because everyone was booked and no one was there to help, which is another video that I will do at some point in time. And I'm like sitting here crying out for help. I'm like, come on, this is ridiculous. And I finally got a guy, if you're in Florida, Dr. Beatty is amazing, absolutely amazing. He took me on, he worked with me with my insurance. My insurance did this whole claim thing to finally be like, okay, we can't find anyone for you, so we'll go ahead and we'll we'll let you see someone outside. That is Aetna. Free plug for y'all, Aetna. Thank you. Um, but they finally got it together to where I could go see Dr. Beatty, and I was officially diagnosed after a whole bunch of tests. Now, let me tell you, well, I'll do another video on the test because this is getting long, but I will say I was very anxious taking these tests. And it's interesting because the ones I thought I rocked, that I did so well on, I actually did horrible on them. Horrible. And the ones that I was like, oh, I did horrible, I did average on. So it was probably the best day of my life when I was diagnosed as ADD because um, it meant I wasn't stupid. It meant I wasn't slow. it meant that there is a chance for my future, that I wasn't going to have to go back into waiting tables. Uh, I was definitely, because I was literally about to apply for disability. I was like, I can't even do an entry level job. This is horrible. And, through the counseling, I was part of my thing was doing research. That's what they told me to do. So I was looking on YouTube and I saw a bunch of other people's stories, and I was like, wow, this is like me fully. It was crazy. So honestly, it's been a horrible month, losing my job, which I absolutely loved. Didn't pay the greatest, but the benefits were amazing, and I loved being able to help people. And it was, I took it well this time. I guess it's because I was getting used to getting fired, but it's still humiliating. Um, it's still one of those things where you're like, oh, why? But I mean, they did try and give me chance after chance, and I kept making mistakes. And certain things, if you're running organization or business, there's certain things that you can't tolerate. I understand that. So, and just like looking back, like I was angry for years at DC. I was so mad. And now I'm like, man, I gotta find my old boss so I can say I'm sorry. So, Mary, if you're seeing this, I am so sorry. And it was not on purpose. Um, but, you know, at this point in time, there's hope at the end of the tunnel. Um, I finally got to go see uh, a psychiatrist now yesterday, which was my very first time going, and he was amazing. He's Dr. Do. If anyone's in Greensboro seeing this, needing help, Dr. Do and Dr. Beatty. Dr. Beatty can diagnose you. Dr. Do can take care of you. Absolutely amazing. I didn't feel like I had to lie to him like I did this other place, which I will do another video on. I know there's a billion videos I got to do, but I got to the point to where I felt like I had to start lying, which I'm not good at because I blurt things out and I end up telling the truth. And I had every intention on lying because I wanted to be treated like a normal human being. I didn't want to be treated or judged for my past or get labeled and all this jazz like I really was at this other place, and they started playing like Russian roulette with these prescriptions. I was trying different stuff like every week. I felt horrible. I was falling asleep during the day. I was it was a mess. It was absolutely horrible. So yesterday, I got put on Adderall, and um, today is my first day actually being on it, which I will do another video on that one as well. But for right now, there's hope at the end of the tunnel. I feel like I might be able to go back. I mean, it's going to take months. Apparently, there's a whole bunch of habits that you gain trying to compensate because your brain is working properly. So, it doesn't just go away with a pill. From what I understand, there's uh, therapy that you have to go through to undo negative patterns that you've picked up over the years, and especially if you're as old as me, finally getting around to what's wrong. Um, it's very upsetting because had there been healthcare, you know, available to me, I might have been, which there might have been resources I didn't know about, but had I addressed this years ago, I'd probably be a lot further in my life, in my career. Had I known certain things, um, certain things might not have gone down. I might have been able to. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying, you know, healthcare for everybody. We need that one. I think they call it one pair. I think they just need to have healthcare for everyone, which is a whole nother video in itself. But there's plenty of people that I'm sure are falling through the cracks because there isn't necessarily help, or there isn't adequate help. because I can say some of the help I received was not help at all. It was bullshit. It was a complete and utter bullshit. It didn't help. It hindered. Um, and certain people aren't in it for the love of medicine or helping people, and it's apparent when they make you feel like you're crazy. I was actually made to feel like I was drug seeking. Like that's how I started feeling. I was just like, am I making this up? Am I being dramatic right now? Am I making up symptoms? Am I really just trying to get some drugs so that I can get high? I started feeling like I was an addict, to be truthful. Um, because I started getting fixated on, because I'm taking all these pills that aren't doing anything, making me feel like crap. My brain's not working. I'm telling people I'm trying. No one, I feel like everyone's feeling like I'm making mistakes, or not making mistakes, making excuses for mistakes, and no one's getting it when I'm saying there's a problem, I need help. I'm trying to get help. I'm not getting the help that I need, and I'm losing my job. It was a lot. So now at this point, I can say that yeah, there's hope at the end of your journey. There's hope. It takes a while to get there sometimes, and you're gonna go through a lot of bullshit people who call themselves fucking doctors. First things first, find out whether or not they're an actual doctor or if they're a fucking nurse. Okay. Um, Second of all, if they're making you feel some sort of way, take your healthcare into your own hands. You don't have to see them. You don't have to see them. You don't have to take any of the pills that they're giving you. You don't. Um, yeah, chances are a doctor will know better than you, but trust yourself. Trust yourself. If the stuff they're giving you makes you feel like crap, like complete and utter trash, and you taking it for 2 weeks, a month, and then you tell them and they double it, it's time to see somebody else. Okay? I gave it a chance. I doubled it. I felt absolutely worse. It was horrible. They started making me feel some sort of way because I wasn't responding to what they were giving me. It was completely crazy. I won't say the name of the place because I don't know if they could sue me or not. And I mean, I'm unemployed, so good luck at that. But I don't want no smoke. I don't want no problems. But I will say that they were horrible. And if you work there and you treated me and you know who you are, you should be ashamed of yourself. You can't talk to someone for 5 minutes, then write them a prescription and give people labels and shit. You just can't do that. Well, obviously you can, but you shouldn't. So shame on you. Um, Shame on you. Period. Um, I know I had times where I really wanted to, I longed for death. I wasn't suicidal. I just longed for death. I longed for someone to come by and just hit me with a car, or, for me to finally have a heart attack since I've eaten myself to death over the last decade. Something, I had my hurt my self-esteem horribly. I stopped trusting my judgment with choices that I was making, and I questioned everything that I did. And y'all people at that place, y'all did not help at all. Thank God I have an amazing, amazing boyfriend who had my back the entire time. I would come back. I know he's probably sick and tired of hearing about it, because I was talking nonstop, and I'm like, am I crazy? Like, what? Oh, but he was always there for validation, whether I accepted it or not. He was just always there. Um, and he was willing to listen to me rave nonstop, and he was amazing. Um, so currently, right now, I'm unemployed, looking for a new job, and you know, um, it's crazy how a day makes. Because I this time I didn't take it as bad. I mean, I was upset, but I was just like, okay, action, 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 and I'm going to finish this diagnosis. And I got my diagnosis, And that really changed everything, and it changed everything from being hopeless to hopeful. Um, so, because I was like, man, what if I have to go on disability? They don't get paid shit. They get paid like what, $733 a month? Like, who could live off of that? Certainly not me. I was, I was wondering. I was like, man, like, if I love my partner, should I leave him? Because he's never gonna get anywhere with me, ever. There's no way. Like, I'm dead weight. I can't keep a job. The jobs I have don't make money. Like, it's just not fair. So then it's a question of, do you stay with that person and be an anchor so that they can't rise? You know what I'm saying? Like, that drowns both of you. And I already know that a lot of other people felt like that about me for years. I've heard it for years. I've heard people say stuff. I've seen messages that they've sent to him about why he was with me. It's pretty much everybody felt uh, that way, that I wasn't worthy, and I started believing it myself. And there were a few people in my life who actually believed that I was. I know I certainly didn't believe it after a while. Like, at first, I was very indignant about it, and I was like, "Fuck that bitch, fuck her." And to this day, I still don't like this bitch. There's a couple of them, and I don't like them, because how dare they? How dare they? There are plenty of things I could say about you. Plenty. I'm not gonna put your business out here, but if you watch this and you're feeling guilty, chances are it's you, bitch, because you had the nerve to sit here and question me. No. If you're family, you get to do that. Why? Because you're family and you care, but at the end of the day, like, bitch, if you don't know me, you have no place to sit here and talk about me being good enough or not good enough. And if not, maybe care enough for your friend to be like, hey, maybe there's a problem. Maybe he should, something. But long story short, there's plenty of people who were like, why are you with him? He's kind of dumb. Oh, he can't keep a job, this, that, and the other, which I understand. That's a frustrating thing to deal with, but luckily I have a man who's strong enough to stay with me and who's strong enough to support me and gave a shit about me becoming my best self. And now that I'm on my way there, I'm very, very grateful. Very grateful. And as for the rest of the people who didn't believe me, I would like to give you a full hearted fuck you. And I hope it hurt. And if you're seeing this, I really, really hope someone shits on your day. Like, right up in your cornflakes. The kind with the corn in it. I hope you get it. Because it is what it is. And I'll probably feel like that until you apologize. And like I said, I won't put your name out there. But chances are, if you're seeing this and you said something, yeah, I found out. I saw it, whatever. Um, but yeah, point being is, it's a journey, but you gotta love yourself. And luckily, I've had a few people who have been really instrumental in helping me, whether it was, a group that I worked with, the Write Your Life Right, um, which, I discussed in another video, that did absolute wonders for me. I had a counseling session with her, and we sat down. I'll never forget. We sat down and we started talking about things, and just a whole bunch really clicked for me. Like, absolutely amazing. I Yeah, we'll get into that in another video, but that did amazing. A support system. If people aren't supporting you, let them go. They're not worth it. Don't keep it. You know. Um, Everyone's not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm obese. My face is a mess. I have ingrown hairs. Look all kinds crazy. But does that mean that I should be ridiculed or hated? Absolutely not. Um, You know, I got to hiding into my house. I stopped talking to a lot of people. Um, I stopped doing my craft. I love writing songs. I stopped doing that. I stopped doing a lot that I loved. So this runs deep and it impacts a lot of your life. So if you're watching right now and this is something that you think you might be dealing with, keep going, keep doing the things you love, um, and keep fighting to find out what it is. It could be depression, it could be bipolar, it could be ADD, it could not be. It could be a whole bunch of different things that's messing with your head. But fight to get down to the bottom of it and become your better self. Because at the end of the day, um, if you don't address it, it's going to snowball, it's going to get worse. And you'll think less of yourself. And it's not a way to live. I have many years that I've wasted, period. And if someone tells you, hey, you might need to get help, go get it. Don't get upset, just get it. You know, easier said than done, but at the end of the day, today I'm a lot happier. Hell, right now I'm making my own video on YouTube. All 5 of you that watch it are seeing me, and I was petrified of that. Um, but now I'm not. I'm a little anxious, I won't lie, but it is what it is. Anyways, this was a very long video. If you made it this far, awesome. Love you. You have a wonderful day, and leave me comments, leave me questions. I'll do update videos, and y'all have a great evening. Peace and light.